Hello and welcome to this little preview of what is included in this pattern. Um, this is a Storm at Sea block with some applique pattern in it. Here's the color block kind of guide. Here's a numbered section by section for the quilt blocks. Here is a yardage and size breakdown of each piece. You can see you'll need 1/4 of a yard for fabric number 1. I would recommend cutting little swatches of each of your fabrics and placing them in this guide so that it's a good helpful visual reminder for yourself. So you can see how many pieces you need to cut of each different shape, and the size chart is up here for each of these individual pieces. I did find that it was more conservative to use strips of fabric versus little blocks of fabric, because then you can flip it around and get more out of your strips. Here is how many strips or how many pieces you can get within a strip of fabric, and these are the individual sections that have been figured out for you. I created this design so that it would be 5-inch squares, and then I realized that 6-inch squares probably would have been easier, but it's done now, so they're all 5-inch squares. Then we have all my templates for each square. I do want to point out that these numbers on the templates refer to sewing order, not fabric number. So don't get confused by that. Okay, then every single pieced block has a template. And then the ones that are not pieced are you just cut the blocks and then sew them to the rest of the pattern. Okay, the small square, I think I have a guide for what size that is at the very end. Okay, you can see I have pressing directions for how to sew the blocks together. So if you stay pretty consistent with those instructions, your blocks should sew together nicely. And here's those 24 5.5-inch blocks. The 5.5-inch does include your seam allowance. And then I have included just the 5-inch blocks that I used. So this one is 3.3 by 3.3 or 3.5 with the seam allowance. And then I did include the applique I will include a separate PDF of each of these in case the full PDF gives you trouble, like it's taking a second to load here. But I did want to show you how to print this ship, and just so if you print, you can see it's much bigger than the 5-inch block up here. It's quite a large piece. So if you print and then go to page 58, okay, you can see that the preview is a 5 by 3, so that's going to be 15 sheets of paper. But you just make sure this tile scale is at 100%. You have selected poster, and then whatever page you're on. So if I go to 59, you can see it'll print out the wave pattern here. So this one is quite large as well. I included the finished wave design so that you could have a reference for the size and where positioning goes, and because it does get quite confusing because there are a lot of pieces. So that's why I've included the finished applique piece in both the ship and the waves. So another thing I want to point out is that the finished ship here is the correct orientation, facing the correct direction, and each of the individual pieces are a mirror image of that. And they've been flipped so that when you trace your either steam or the double-sided interfacing that you use to attach it to your quilt top, then you put it on the back of the fabric, and then when you flip it over, it'll be facing the correct direction. So that's why it's a mirror image. So you layer, match the numbers to numbers, and layer things, and pay attention to the image because there is some overlapping and layering that has to happen in order for it to look correct. Okay, well, good luck with your creating, and I would love to see any finished quilts that you make from this pattern. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would be happy to answer them. Thank you.